Folks, David here on the Vintage Future once again, and today I want to talk to you about my 8092 Red Wing Shop Mocs. This is basically their famous legend of a boot, which is their 875 Moc toe, or the 877, which is the original 8-inch Moc toe, but they chop it, so there's no boot shaft, obviously. The reason these caught my attention is I really did want to get an 877 or an 875 at some point. But when I saw these, they caught my eye because I'm not really a shoe guy. So this is like a shoot. It's like a shoe boot, right? And so it's like I can wear a boot still, but in the form of a shoe. So when you wear it, you really feel like you're still wearing a boot. It looks like a boot. When the pant leg goes over it, it's a boot. But your ankle is exposed. You get a little more ventilation and stuff, which is important because this oil tan leather doesn't really breathe that well, which is probably my only complaint about it. But I'm really liking these. Stylistically, they've been a lot of fun. It's not the same exact one everyone else and their brother has. And yeah, it's been great. The leather is the star of the show, as you know, if you know anything about Red Wing Moc toes. This Oro Legacy leather is fantastic. I'm just going to show you some close-ups of the patina we have going on. I've been wearing these for about a year, okay? And after the first 10 days, they were pretty well broken in, but obviously it takes weeks to fully break in a boot. But you can see here, like, even though this leather is permeated with oil, it has no problem picking up like water and moisture and dirt. So that's why I've got like water spots here and stuff, which adds to the patina. Yeah, so it's a beautiful boot. They've darkened a ton. Like if you look at the pictures when they were new, they were really pristine, really uniform, a much brighter, you could say almost like orange color. And now they're like this rusty color, which again, I think is gorgeous. So yeah, the leather's definitely the star of the show, but also the design. Nobody can replace the Red Wing Moc toe design. It is perfection. It is the standard. It is the true Moc toe. I've owned Thorogoods. I've owned the brass boot by Grant Stone. I love those ones, but nothing compares to the Red Wing. It is the measuring line. I think to alter this would be to alter perfection, and so you just want to leave it alone. And so they didn't really do a whole lot to this other than chop the shaft off and make it, wearable as a shoe. And what I mean by that is this. So like, it's not like they just hack the top off. See how this curves inward here and it curves inward here. And you've got this nice curvature right here. Well, that cups your foot. So I've got skinny ankles, a low volume foot. And even then this heel cups my heel really well. These sides right here, they cup the sides of my foot really well. And then once you cinch the laces, it cups the instep really well. So my foot's pretty locked in. It doesn't feel like these are falling off. And this is not high enough to where it's like jabbing into my ankle either though, because that would be a problem. So it's like just at the right height. High enough to hold your foot in, but not so high that it's jabbing into your ankle. And then this is a solid heel counter. I don't know if it's leather or not, but whatever it is, it's pretty hard. So that makes for really good anchoring for the heel. And then right here in the front, you've got your toe structure. And it also is really tough. Like it's super hard. It's not going to cave in on you. It's not going to collapse. Like I've had even some Viberg 310s where like the toe collapsed. Not my horse butt ones, but some Chrome XL ones that I've had. And these show no sign of collapsing. So that's nice because it maintains the look. Because if these were to collapse, they would look pretty stupid. So the look is maintained, which is good. But also the structural integrity is there. And if you drop something on your toes, it's not a steel toe, but it's going to do better than just a normal soft toe. This mock stitch is, probably its most distinct feature, and it's really well done. They glue it and sew it, and you can tell after a lot of wear, it's still not separating except for maybe like right there. But yeah, really, really nice. And when I wear these, I have a low instep, as you know, if you've watched my channel for very long. When I wear these, they end up like this, and it holds my foot in just fine. So it's a bit of a stretch, but it does work. And this leather has not stretched. So that's the one thing I'll say is some boots, they start out like this and I'm like, oh, they barely work, but they work. And then 6 months later, the leather's stretched out and they're too loose now. Well, I have not had that experience with this pair of boot shoots, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, honestly though, these are my first Red Wings I've had in a really long time. And I gotta say, for the crap that they take for being like lower end, They're still made in the USA. If you look at this craftsmanship for the price, it's still really good. Like, yeah, this is not as nice. This welt joint and this stitching is not as nice as some boots that I've had. But for the price, for the accessibility, like anywhere in North America or Europe and a lot of places in Asia, you can just like walk into a store, get them sized. Sizing advice online is really easy to come by. You can order these online in most countries. The secondhand market is big. It's thriving, so it's easy to sell them or it's easy to find a used pair. Information is easy to find. Yeah, it's like USA tanned, USA made, and look at this craftsmanship. So I don't know. For what you're paying, these are pretty stinking fantastic. I think Red Wing is one of the few companies who gives you a package quite like that. It's got this 360-degree flat Goodyear welt, and this, they call it the Puritan stitch, where it's like black stitch, white stitch, black stitch. You look at how like the little square, the box stitch here lines up on that side versus this other side. Yeah, I mean, all things considered, it's great. These 5 nickel eyelets have done really well. Yeah, so this has been just a great shoe to wear. As I said, I've been wearing them a little over a year and got miles to go. And I'm really stoked with how they look and how they feel, how they wear on foot, and I highly recommend them. As far as conditioning, I've only conditioned them one time with the Red Wing mink oil, and it darkened them just a little bit. So most of this is just natural darkening that you see, but some of it is from that mink oil, and I was pretty happy with that product. That was what they told me to use, and that's what I would recommend to use on them. I'm not actually really that finicky with what you use as your conditioning product. I think a lot of that stuff's way overhyped. So I just kind of use whatever I have on hand. I don't really care that much because we're not talking about dress shoes. We're talking about boots. So you don't need to be like, oh my gosh, like, is VSC best or Saphir or Big Four? It's like, dude, the leather doesn't care. Just put something on it, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? I used to get really worked up over that. And now I'm like, I don't care. The leather doesn't care. You wouldn't be able to tell, like, if someone conditioned these with Big Four for 10 years and someone else used like mink oil for 10 years, no one would be able to tell which one was which, right? There's no empirical way to figure that out. You know, anyone that says they could tell, I'm like, shenanigans. So, I put mink oil on. I'm pretty happy with that product. Get it. But if that's not what you have and you don't have a lot of money, don't go out and spend money on mink oil. Use what you got. But yeah, that worked out really nicely. Also, as far as the traction tread soles go, I've been pretty happy with them. They're a good mix of durability and traction and comfort. They're pretty cushioned. As you can tell, my heel drag is taking a little bit of a toll, but it's not too bad. And you know what? Do not try to keep these clean. They won't stay clean. Just wear them and accept the fact that they're going to be dirty. Like, I could probably clean these a little bit with a sponge, but if you are trying to keep these like pristine all the time, then it's just not the boot for you. It's not the sole for you. So the last thing I need to talk about is sizing. This is the 23 last, which is the same as their 875 Red Wing. And it's like a half size down from Branagh. That's what everybody says. So that's what I'm going to go with. And that's what I did. And it works really well. I will say this does not work for wide feet. If you're a D width or less, these are going to work for you. If you are pushing E width or double E width, you might be able to go up half a size and make them work. But for a lot of you wider footed people, it's just not going to work. And unfortunately, they don't offer this one in wide widths the way that they do with like the 875. But yeah, narrow footed people, or what they're calling normal width, which is D, these should work for you nicely. They aren't the most comfortable for the first like 5 wears, but after that, when they shape to your feet, I would say, as much as a heavy boot can be, they do kind of feel like slippers on the inside. So yeah, other than that, like, the sizing worked out really nicely for me. Anyways, guys, just wanted to give you that quick highlight on these fantastic boots. I'm having a lot of fun with them. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments below, and I'll always do my best to answer. And as I always say, let your boots take you places more important than the boots themselves. Catch you on the next one.